Hi, BB Gorgeous here. I am today going to talk about my labor and delivery story. Bear with me, it's been 2 weeks since I delivered Max, who is actually sleeping right here. He sleeps like a log, so if he wakes up, I'll stop the video. But he probably is just gonna stay asleep this whole time. So basically, I gave birth 2 weeks ago. Max was born on January 21st, 2016, and I said that I may go ahead and talk about what happened with my labor and delivery. So let's jump right into it for all you first time moms out there. Just right off the bat, I'll tell you guys that I had a completely natural childbirth, no medication, no epidural, but there was some complications at the end, so I'll talk about that too. So where do I start? Okay. So I'll start off with how my work day went. I had the last like 3 weeks of my pregnancy were crazy. Like people were just trying me, okay? Like seriously. Cab drivers, Uber drivers, people on the street. I mean, everybody just felt like they could say something to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I have like too nice of a face. I wish that I had like a resting bitch face, but I don't. And I look really young. So, I mean, I'm almost 30 years old. Like, I'm 29, about to turn 30. But people thought I was like a teen mom. So they just felt like they could come at me with whatever they wanted to say about me being apparently what they thought was a teen mom, even though I'm not. I'm like a lawyer and everything. But no. They thought they could say whatever they wanted to me. So I was having a really, really tough, like, last 3 weeks of my pregnancy. And I was 36 weeks pregnant, almost 37 weeks, and on the day that I went into labor, I went to work. I work like a 9 to 5. I do student debt work, and this one woman was just trying me. She was calling me all day, yelling at me about stuff, just really, really stressful. And I was joking with my coworker. I was like, this woman is going to send me into early labor. So I have like a really stressful day at work. I come home, my boyfriend is like really cool, he's cooking. He's like, hey, just chill out, let's watch some cartoons, you need to just chill out. So I chill out, I eat dinner, and then for the first time in like months of my pregnancy, I go to sleep early. Usually I'm not able to go to sleep until like 3-4 a.m. But on this particular night, I went to sleep at like 10, which was amazing. So I'm sleeping good, like some of the best sleep that I've had my entire pregnancy. And I woke up at around 3:30 a.m. and I just felt, okay, this might be TMI. I just felt like I had to poop really, really bad. Like it felt like really bad constipation, but a different type of constipation. Mind you, I'm a complete first time mom, so I had no idea what this meant. I just thought I was constipated, and I had been constipated before in my pregnancy, so I just figured, this is something that is just not a big deal. So I deal with it for like maybe 30-45 minutes, and it just starts getting worse and worse. Like I have to poop, but I can't. So I wake my boyfriend up and I'm like, dude, like I don't feel good. This dude, this guy, my boyfriend, love of my life, right? He's like, psh, I got a toothache. What do you want me to do about it? Just like call a doctor. And I'm like, call a doctor? Like what are they gonna tell me? They're just gonna be like, go poop, Like I'm trying to get some like moral support here, some compassion. And he's just like, I don't want to go to sleep. It's like 4 a.m. So I'm like, fine, go back to sleep. I'm like pissed off at this point, right? Because I'm in pain. I don't understand the pain. And I should have looked up some YouTube videos on what early labor feels like or what it could possibly look like, but I didn't. So for all of you first time moms out there who are unsure what early labor feels like, it might feel like you have to poop, but it can't. So, TMI aside, I try to poop, but even sitting down on the toilet starts to hurt. Like everything just starts to hurt. So I wake my boyfriend back up. He's like, come on, like you gotta, he's like, you gotta deal with this, you gotta deal with the pain, like you're just constipated. You've been constipated before. You're only 37 weeks. I'm sure you're not in labor. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm sure I'm not in labor. So 5:30 rolls by. I'm still moaning all over the place. At this point, my boyfriend is like, all right, you're starting to scare me. And I had always thought that when your water breaks, it breaks in like a flood. But in my case, it was just like a trickle down my leg. And I was like, first, I'm constipated. What? Now I can't hold in my pee. Like, what's going on with me, right? So he's like, you should call the midwife. So I call the midwife at around 5. So at this point, I think I've been in early labor for like 2 hours. So I call the midwife at like 5, and I tell her, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm a little bit constipated. I feels like I have to poop, but I can't, and there was a trickle of water. She's like, you might be in early labor, you might not. Call me back if your water really breaks. So I'm like, great. I'm just in pain, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So at this point, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So fast forward to like 6:30. It's so bad, the poop feeling that I have to poop but I can't is so bad that I am on all fours in the bed, rolling around like on all fours, just sort of rotating my body. And my boyfriend's just sort of looking at me like, damn, this is the worst constipation ever, right? First time parents, we are clueless. Like, duh, I'm in labor. But I was just clueless. He's like, go try to poop again. So I go in the restroom. I can't even sit down on the toilet, y'all. I'm like holding myself up. Oops. I'm like holding myself up, trying to poop, but can't. It just hurts. Everything just hurts. And then I get back on the bed and I'm rolling myself around on all fours, rotating like they taught us to do in my prenatal yoga class. And then all of a sudden, it was like I just peed. Like I just peed on myself, but only a little bit. Not like it is in the movies when they're like, my water broke, and they're screaming. No, it was just like a little trickle of water. And I was like, okay, this might be it. My boyfriend's like, yeah, call a midwife again. Tell him your water just broke. So I call a midwife, and she's like, you need to come in. Go ahead and come in, right? We'll see what's going on with you, if you're dilating or not. So we don't have a car. We live in DC. It's not a big deal to not have a car here. We are going to get a car, but mostly for like road trips and stuff for the little one. This summer is going to be a lot of fun, but we don't have a car. So I called an Uber, and there was just some talk in the news about an Uber driver leaving a pregnant woman in labor on the side of the street because he didn't want to get his seats dirty in his car. So when the Uber gets here, I'm like, girl, BB, you need to keep it together. Don't let this dude know that you are in labor. So I'm sitting in the back seat, and oh, I forgot to say something. Max decided to come right at the beginning of the biggest snowstorm that has hit DC in years, apparently. So no, there were barely no Ubers out. The Uber that did come was 3 times the normal price. So there's snow everywhere. People are literally like shacked up indoors because nobody wants to come out because the snowstorm is hitting, and I'm in labor, right? So that's just another drama element added to the story. So we get in the Uber. It's snow everywhere. Uber driver is looking at me like my big belly, and I'm just like, ugh. He's looking at me funny, and I'm like, you better not moan, you better not say nothing. And at this point, the contractions are coming in waves. Like, I know at this point that it's early labor. So I'm sitting in the back seat. My boyfriend's giving directions to the Uber driver because there's lots of road closures because of the snow, trying to get to the hospital, and I'm just keeping it together, just trying not to let this man know that I'm having contractions and I'm about to have a baby. So we get to the hospital, and they want me to fill out forms. I pre-registered online, doesn't matter. They got me filling out forms, and I am in pain, okay? So I fill out the forms the best I can, and then I'm like, to the receptionist, I'm like, look, I need to get on my hands and knees. I'm sorry, that's what feels best right now. So I literally, right there in the lobby of the hospital, no shame, in the waiting area, people coming in and out, I don't care. I drop down to my knees in like a praying position, and I'm like doing this little prenatal rocking because that was the only thing that made me feel good. And the receptionist called the midwife, and she was like, look, homegirl is like on her hands and knees out here in the lobby. You need to come get her now. So they came and got me, and they took me to a room, and it was actually a pretty big room. I was surprised at how big it was, and it looked really comfortable, and it was a room with a tub, which I had requested because I knew that I wanted to do everything natural. So they put me in the room, and that was when they checked me to see how dilated I was. Turns out I was like 5 centimeters dilated, which was a lot. I feel like if I had stayed home any later than I did, I could have given birth like right here at home, which would have been even more terrifying. So as soon as we get to the hospital room, I know that I had said that I wanted a natural childbirth, and I had this big birth plan written out. You can see it in my hospital bag video. As soon as I got to the hospital, I was like, epidural. Can I get an epidural? Where's the epidural? Hi, where's the epidural? They were like, we'll talk to your midwife about that because your birth plan here, which I had laminated and made all pretty, says that you don't want an epidural. I'm like, look, I wrote that when I was not in labor. I wrote that and I was not a first time, I'm a first time mom. I didn't know what to expect. Now that this pain is hitting me in waves, just pain after pain after pain, I want the epidural. So they're like, fine, we'll ask your midwife. So I have video of all of this. My boyfriend took video of all this. I might go ahead and splice some of that video in, but apparently I was a really, really, really quiet labor person. Some people scream, some people moan, some people sing, some people move. I stood in one spot, really, rocking back and forth, silent. That's it. So yeah, I was taking a shower head and I was literally putting it where I felt the pain, and I was repeating this mantra, whatever, while I was in labor. And let's see if I can remember it. It was localized pressure. It's all in your ass. This too shall pass. 3-line mantra. 3-line mantra. I repeated this little poem to myself over and over and over and over for the majority of my labor. And apparently I had a really quick labor. My labor was only 12 hours, which is really fast. It was pretty scary, but literally that's what I said to get myself through it. I did not talk. I never said this little poem out loud until Max was here and into the world. I literally didn't want anybody to talk to me, really. I didn't want anybody to touch me except my doula, who was helping me rock back and forth. I didn't want anybody, like my midwife tried to massage near my ass. Oh my God, I was like, if you touch me, woman. I didn't want anybody to touch me. I didn't want anybody to do anything. I just wanted to be in my head, in my happy place. My boyfriend put on some music, or not music, some like white noise that was like waves crashing against the shore. Beautiful. I loved it. I just wanted to hear those waves crashing against the shore, and I wanted to just breathe, and I wanted to say, localized pressure, it's all in your ass, this too shall pass. I would repeat that to myself every single contraction to get me through it, and I would know that at some point the pain would go away. And that really helped a lot. I did the majority of my labor in the shower, sitting down with this shower head, just pinpointed where the pressure was, the localized pressure, as I said in my poem. Then towards the end of my labor, they put me in the big giant tub. Like I said before, I think I have video. I'll try to splice in some video there. I'm going to keep the money shot to myself and my family. But yeah, so my boyfriend took some video, and I'll show what the tub looked like. But oh boy, I got in the tub. It wasn't as helpful as I thought it would be, but it was very relaxing. And it ended up being too relaxing because they took me out of the tub because I wasn't pushing hard enough in the tub. So they took me out of the tub and they put me on the bed. I thought that I was gonna lay down, but I wanted to have this baby on all fours. That's how I had him. That's how Max came screaming into this world. I was on all fours, and those last contractions, those last pushes were literally the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. I cannot sugarcoat it for you. I did it all natural. No epidural, no meds. But let me be honest with you guys. There was not one moment where I was not thinking about the epidural, asking about the epidural, wondering where the epidural was, imagining how the epidural would feel, thinking about it. Like, I wanted the epidural, and I kept asking for it, but I'm telling you guys, my midwife and my doula Jedi mind tricked me. They never once told me no. I would ask for the epidural, and they would say, okay, you are now at 7 centimeters. I just want you to know that if you get the epidural, it will elongate your labor and delivery. Whereas if you don't get the epidural, you could be done with this 45 minutes tops. And they were right. I didn't get the epidural when I wanted it, but I was done pushing really, really fast. But I mean, shout out to all moms out there, no matter how you give birth, whether it's natural, whether it's with medication, whether it's a C-section, whether it's adoption. Motherhood is hard. No matter how you cut the, no matter how the cookie crumbles, motherhood is hard. So, I don't want anybody to think that they are less than just because they got an epidural, or they're less than because they got a C-section. None of that matters, okay? Because for how hard labor was, this past 2 weeks has been even harder. Sleep deprivation, round-the-clock breastfeeding, crying. I mean, I love Max to death, but motherhood is hard. So just because I did it all natural, I'm shocked that I did it all natural, and I'm a little proud, yes, but I'm not bragging, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not thinking that I'm better than anybody, because I said the word epidural more than I said God's name during this labor. Think about that, okay? I love God. I do. I love Jesus. I said epidural more than I called on God. And that is some crazy messed up stuff. So I don't want anybody to think that just because they want an epidural, or that they get an epidural, or that they get a C-section, that they are not as strong, because you are, okay? You get your baby here no matter how you get him here. It doesn't matter. Forget what everybody else thinks. So yeah, I did it. I did it without medication. I was shocked. And when he came into this world, it was the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced. I could not believe that I was finally meeting him. And he was so cute and so sweet. And unfortunately, I had a first-degree tear. Tearing was my worst fear, but I had a first-degree tear. So they stitched me up. I don't even notice, okay? Like, they're stitching me up, and I'm just all into my baby, my boyfriend. Like, we were just so happy. And then I experienced a pain that was 100 times worse than labor. And the reason it was worse was because with labor, there are waves. It's on and then it's off. You get some breathing time, you get to get your energy back up, and then you're back at it. And then it's off and it's on and off. This pain, and also labor, I just felt it in my butt area. This pain shot all over my body. And I was screaming, okay, y'all? Like, I was screaming. Turns out that I'm one of those rare women that got a vaginal hematoma after the pregnancy. And basically a hematoma is like a little pool of blood that collects underneath your skin. And it was collecting and pooling and getting bigger and bigger underneath my stitches. So they had to knock me out. They gave me like morphine or something. So yeah, they had to take it to go get drained. But when I woke up, it was beautiful. And I went home. We ended up having to stay at the hospital for 4 days because of the snowstorm. They wouldn't let anybody leave the hospital. But when we went home, it was amazing from there. So if you have any questions about my birth story, just comment below. It was a beautiful experience, and I am happy that it happened the way it did. I have no regrets, even though it was tough. So that's it. Shout out to all the other moms out there, and BB Gorgeous signing off. Have a wonderful day. Bye.